So we're talking about your experience digging for crystals, so in Arkansas, right? So tell us all about that. So and show pictures. Definitely put pictures.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely put pictures in here. Okay, so I went to a couple of years ago. I went with Brian, my friend Brian, who's been on the podcast. We went to was the name Coleman Mines, and I liked the idea of, I didn't really know where crystals came from. You know, it's just kind of like the stork brought him in, like brought the baby in or something. I'm like, how are they in caves? Or they like, what do they look like when they're being dug up? I didn't even know. And so we went to like this mine, and they kind of like showed us what they look like when they're coming out of the ground and stuff, which is super fascinating and super weird. I mean, they are fully formed, sometimes isolated, sometimes in clusters, like in this like clay, in this red clay and stuff. And it's just so fascinating how that even happens. And anyway, so we got to dig there was a crystal mine, and we got to dig in the dirt after, you know, they've already got the good stuff.
The crystals.
So you basically get to, you know, sift through the trash kind of thing. And, you know, we got a couple of like, oh, look at this one or whatever. But, you know, like whatever, in the whole day's worth of digging, we probably got like, I don't know, maybe 10 crystals if we were lucky. And they were cool. I liked some of them, but they were kind of milky, and they weren't the glass crystals, which is like what Arkansas is sort of known for, is like that pure, just absolute clear, like glass
diamond,
crystals.
right?
Mm-hmm. And there are actually diamonds out there too. So I got barely a taste of it, and I was like, oh, I got to do more. And so I started like thinking, like, how do I actually dig in the mine part and not just through the trash? And so there was this one called Twin Creek Mining. Like, I started looking on YouTube and like looking for best crystal mining in Arkansas and stuff. And I found one that you just pay, and like I paid $300 for a pocket. So you go there, and it's like a guaranteed pocket of where, or a vein of where all these crystals are growing. You get to bring your own crowbars, your own whatever, and you just get going, and like you get to stay the whole day and get as many as you want. And so me and my brother and my sister-in-law went, and we took all my nieces and nephews. Not a thing to do with kids, by the way, because I mean, if you just want to go pick up a couple on the ground, sure. But if you want to like get in there and start mining stuff, it is manual labor. It is very hard, and it's heavy. They're all heavy. Anyway, so we got thousands of crystals, and I love them.
Incredible.
And I wanted to be the only human to have touched them. Like, for some reason, that was very important to me. And I don't even know why they're so important to me, but like I have a call, like me and my brother are kind of like, let's go back next week. Let's go. And I have this like calling to just go, I like touch it. Like, it's almost like they're getting birthed. Like they're getting the gift of getting to come to be around other people or something. They've been sitting dormant underneath the ground, growing for who knows how long. And now they're like, these couple of crystals are the ones that are like, so many get crushed in the process of looking for them, or get overlooked or stepped on, or like, you know, the ones that actually make it to you it's very, very cool. And I feel like a lot of times in life, we have so many things, like all your jewelry, like, I don't know, is this yellow stone even real? What is this stone? And like, who got it? And like what's its,
what was the process?
What was the process, you know? And that's not just for minerals and metals and all. Yeah, even just think about like metal is essentially ore, which is like, you know, like that has to be sifted through the right way and melted down in the right degrees and combined with the right amount of properties. So I mean, everything in our physicality, like your fabrics, everything goes through like this weird process that we so take for granted. And yeah, anyway, so that's the crystal mining thing. I also look, me and my brother have looked for, we have a big pocket where we're finding a bunch of these brachiopods, like these ancient clam-like fossils. We go into the rivers and like look for like really cool pebbles, like pebble rocks that are that have been like sanded naturally from the river water. Like it's just, there's something magical about them, and super unique about each little tiny pebble. And I know that that's like weird to some people, but it's therapeutic and it's beautiful, and it's like it's kind of like, it's like it's just like the jewelry of earth. It's like what she's giving to you on her skin surface. It's just great. So yeah, so that was my experience with the crystal digging, which I think everybody should try. These are my clearer, better crystals. These are little ones. These are like I don't know what, bad clusters, tons. I mean, just thousands and thousands of and then it's like more along the lines of, these could probably, these and stuff could probably be turned into, like, you could just, like, how clear they are is, it's really even hard for the video to take up on. Some of those are, they're so beautiful. I love them. And then this is like my more unique and good stuff, my bigger stuff. So I got like, see, it's got like city peaks and stuff. You have things like I said, I don't think it's really showing you how clear this stuff is. It's just the clearest I've ever seen. It's really cool. Can't really tell in a video. I mean, of course, some of it needs to be cleaned off better. Lots and lots of, big old peaks. So yeah, and like they'll just be like interesting kryptonite ones, or like some of these would just make cool necklaces, or anyway, I did love it. I loved doing it. Like a lot of these are, I guess it was called Twin Peaks for a reason. There was a lot of double crystals. Super loved it. And this is neat. This is just like my better clear stuff. I have a whole bucket of milky stuff outside that's like would be great for organite and stuff.
Yeah, well, I went looking for gemstones in North Carolina years ago, I remember, and we were in, I don't remember exactly where it was, but it was like a huge dugout area, and then we just went in and sifted around. Some people had equipment and they were more into it. We were.
Did you find anything?
We did. We found some like a lot of quartz and some, oh my gosh, aquamarine, which is really pretty. We had 3 different aquamarines, which I was surprised about. And we were kind of like, did they plant some of these things here so people would come back? Like, I don't know. But the thing that I didn't like about it was that it was like an exploded out chunk of Mother Earth just for crystal, like to dig up to crystal. So there's always that part of me that's like, should we be really digging up these crystals like at this rate? But I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, and I did it, and I also really like doing it. But there is that question about that. Do you like did?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Mining in general, like really, it feels like we're little ants that are just kind of like digging a burrow. But like, I mean, like there's mines that take out entire mountains, like the
exactly.
And it's just
they're all over Mexico. I mean, yeah.
I have
in Central America.
I mean, when I fly all over, I'm always out like looking. I mean, I can put examples in here too. I'm always out like looking out the window at stuff, and the amount of weird holes we have all over that are man-made. I mean, a lot of your man-made lakes are like retired mines and stuff. That's what they do with
true.
Yeah, I mean, like our materialization is not sustainable for eternity. It's not, and we do have to like, that's another thing. I do feel like we understand at some level that you have to respect animals, even though we don't. You have to respect the plant life, even though we don't. But I don't think people really understand that the mineral world is alive, and
Yes.
it's also needs to be respected. And honestly, that's why I kind of have a little bit of, I do have a little bit of about digging that much, like, but surface level digging I'm okay with, like exploding with like dynamite and like completely taking out uh, entire mountain landscapes and things like that, I have an issue with. But I sometimes feel like things that pop up to the surface, like I would say 99% of my rocks are found by me. And it's like when I've been out in the wilderness walking and I find, like, whether it's like, I don't know, agate or some weird kind of arrowhead or like whatever it is, I have so many different things. But I feel like that's Earth giving you a gift. It's like, oh, here's your little piece of jewelry or whatever. But yeah, you do have to be careful, especially there's a lot of unethical mining that goes on, like Madagascar, that has all these beautiful, really pretty rocks and gems and stuff that are coming out of there, but they are just raping the earth out there. Like, it's like, they'll,
Yeah.
and I haven't actually been there, but from like what I understand in a lot of articles I've read about it, it's just, they're charging, the markup is so high, and they're giving the people who like work and dig all these things like nothing. It's basically slave labor.
It's like blood diamonds, pretty much.
It is. It's basically like blood diamond stuff going on. And then not only that, but they're just having zero respect for the landscape. And to what end?
Well, I mean, we could say that about Shell Oil Company and drilling and all sorts of things. But yes, exactly. Mining in general is just, to get our natural resources. Is that really the answer, what we need to do? And if there is this free energy through crystals, like, how big do the crystals need to be? I know this just shifted the conversation a bit, but we were looking into the free energy.
All of your, so a crystal
is in everything. Well, quartz.
It's an amplifier. So
it's an amplifier, right? Especially quartz.
Especially quartz, and which is the most abundant mineral on the planet. It's sand. It's like sand, like on a microscopic level. It's like, it's, what is it, Ci4? I can't remember what the code. It's like silicon oxide, or I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Like it's like a couple more letters than that. But it's super abundant, and we have it in all of our electronics anyway. They just don't exactly come forth and tell you about it. You have to kind of dig deeper on how to, it's not like completely common knowledge. But yeah, there's 100% a downplay of free energy, and like there's a whole like rabbit hole that you can go down on the amount of blood trail that like runs from people who've come up with ways to like this guy you were talking about, this Mark Cummings guy.
Yeah. So he was a researcher and found out that, well, I'm sure it sounds like he was not the first one to find out about this. This is kind of not that big of knowledge, but if you hit a crystal, it will light up. It will form a spark, not a spark exactly, but it glows. So if you put two crystals together, even, it can just form a glow between them. So there's energy in that. But then when you tighten a coil around it, like a copper coil, and then you put it on, you squeeze it again, you put it into pressure, and if you can heat it, starts vibrating, and a sound comes out of it, and it glows. So there's something about the harnessing of free energy. Oh, and the output of energy is a lot more than whatever the input was into either the hitting of it or however the energy got there in the first place. So it seems like a practical way to have free energy, but I don't really know what that means long-term, or for people on a day-to-day, or how that works with batteries. I'm sure there are people that can tell us all that, but why aren't we using more of that?
But the other thing, I mean, like that guy who did Coral Castle in Florida, which was Edward Lidskinski and Lidskinin or whatever, like LEEDSKALNIN or whatever. He somehow was levitating giant stones and like didn't really share his information on how that was happening. Okay. Like there are technologies that we haven't discovered yet. Just like electricity it wasn't an invention, it was a discovery.
Right.
There are other discoveries of energy amongst us right now.
Yes.
And I think a lot of us are slowly, like if you look at the history of electricity, and it's like they start out with like the Leyden jar and, you know, like rubbing amber on like, you know, they found that if you rub your amber on like fur, it creates a static electricity, like it could make your hair go up, or like it would make your hair follow. And what is this thing? What is this charge that's happening? I mean, that's how it started, like very basic with these kinds of things. And a lot of times this is remembering and it's rediscovering stuff, I feel.
Exactly.
Especially when you start looking at ancient, all that other stuff. But I almost feel like that is okay. So recently I did this meditation where I had this visualization very clearly to me that was about how these like pyramids, maybe not all of them, but some of them all around the world, one of their like one of the functionalities was kind of like a bioluminescence, except it was with minerals. So it was, you know, bioluminescence is when like the plankton or certain kind of biological material or biological life lights up a glow, you know. And this was within the mineral world. It was like they were able to activate a kind of glow within quartz, like in little tiny sand crystals and stuff. So it was a form of free energy, and I don't know what else they could do with it in that little meditation, but it was like the word came to me, a piezoelectric, which we had recently started like looking into the last week. And it's like you were talking about, like it's
how to get energy out of crystal.
It's material stress. It's material stress caused onto some kind of material that makes it like have an emission.
Yes. Yeah, it's a conductor of electricity, but not just a conductor. It's like I guess it emanates, right? Well, I was watching Initiation, one of the episodes on Gaia, and right around the same time we were having this conversation about piezoelectricity, and it was before that though, and they didn't mention that word. That's a new word for me. Anyway, so the episode was about how, like in the past, one of the technologies of the pyramids around the world were that they were able, like they were communicators between one another, and like so there was this sound. The Atlantean, like the fall of the Atlantean civilization, like the final fall, they fell over like a long period of time. But like one of the big things was that took out like the Lemurians from before, was this sound that was able to happen at pyramids. And so there was this like a vibration that was somehow used, and then it just pretty much pulverized everybody who was around there. And they were able to send that energy somehow, either from another pyramid or another site. It's what my understanding was. So there was, I mean, it's not quite like the crystal thing. It just reminded me of that when you were talking about the reasons of the energies, or like the functionality of the pyramids.
The first pyramid I went to when I was in Egypt was the Bent Pyramid. And there is little samples of no other pyramid in Egypt has this, but there's mica schist all over. And the theory was that the entire pyramid used to be encased in mica schist, which mica schist is like these, it's like, they use it in our glittery eyeshadows. They use it in like makeup, you know, they use it in all kinds of products, but we also shimmer, yeah, but it comes in like bigger sheets, which almost kind of form a layer, like kind of like glass or whatever. I
have some actually.
Yeah, it's great stuff, but there's like little pieces of it all over the Bent Pyramid, and there also is a lot of rocks that indicate some sort of almost like nuclear melting or like an explosion or something around there. Like they think that the bent pyramid itself must have exploded somehow, and like that's where there's
well,
all
I guess
these,
that
the
fits with
casing
that
was
whole
all,
thing.
yeah, exactly. So that kind of goes along with that. And you
Yeah.
definitely, I definitely got kind of, not all pyramids are created equal in terms of the energy you feel when you go inside of them. Like the bent pyramid, loved it, but felt like it was broken. Like felt like the energy was not what it was built to be. It felt, there's something felt like discombobulating to be inside. It wasn't.
Yeah. So
It
it was like
wasn't
an
like,
open circuit type of thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it did not feel good. Not, whereas like the Great Pyramid of Giza felt amazing to be inside. So I, like, for whatever reason, I don't think that one's broken. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so it's kind of, or
Yeah.
yeah, or maybe they just have different energies that don't work well with you. Like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. I don't know how you would measure
Yeah.
that exactly, but
Well, it is true. One of the other things, that video that you just sent me about with Mark Cummings, one of the things he said was like, we don't live in an empty space. You know, space is not empty. It's an electrical. It's full, actually, full with electrical particles or something that we just don't know, or we're not really aware of what it is. And that just goes to show that, yeah, like everything is around. I mean, we don't really know what's happening with either pyramids and how to use them and the technologies, or just even extrapolate the energy that's in the air right now or in the space around us. How do we take that electricity around us?
I always think about that. Like, I think about, you know, Benjamin Franklin is like flying his kite or whatever, and it gets struck by lightning, and then he's like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, he wasn't even like that. That's like a story that you basically like
That's
summarize
a
for little
total
kids.
story.
It's a total story,
Right.
right? But the idea that people in the 1750s, like collectively in France, Italy, America, the UK, like they are like all around Europe and in the US and stuff, like started getting these same ideas and sharing them collectively around the same time is really interesting. And like, I'm not
Right.
even
It's like
100%
the
sure.
electric.
Right. It's like the collective consciousness. Like we're like deciding, okay, now it's time for this. Let's like wake this up. Like, wait, so let's wake this up. But I do feel like, a lot of this stuff feels just so primitive to me. It's like you put a bunch of material, you put a bunch of cable down and connect everything around the world in like this giant cable grid, which is super,
Costly and
yeah, super
not,
costly.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's easily damaged, and yeah.
And then and then now we're trying to move to the second phase of things. We're kind of going like, okay, like let's stop doing wires. Let's start connecting things via like Wi-Fi signal, because we can use that stuff in the air. But then that's also kind of dumb, because it's like, it's like anything you put in the air, like we walk right through it, walks right through our body. So then we're being the conductive material and agent within everything, and we don't know what that's doing to our cells or what that's doing to our body. And then I feel like there's even more of an evolution to come, and like something that is non-harmful is everywhere and can be used in a different way. And I don't know what it is exactly, but I'm
Exactly.
convinced it's there.
I'm convinced it's there too. I think there's a big veil over it. There's a lot of people trying to hide from it, the discovery of it being made. Maybe it's like keeping a block on people, or maybe people are just working on it and it didn't hit the masses yet. So we're just not aware of it because we're not in that elite group that are actually working on that type of technology. But I think that it's totally there, because it just makes sense that it is. Wi-Fi is not going to be the answer. And then what happens when there are sunstorms and or sunspots and it causes
Right.
electrical storms here? How is that going to be like long-term solution of
Another
our
Carrington
energy?
event, like 1859 happens again, and that's by satellites. I mean,
Right. So how would that, yeah, would this newer technology that hasn't come out, yeah, would it be able to avoid to avoid those problems, or just to
yeah,
outstand
well, I
them?
feel like it's more localized. I feel like it's working with it. Like for me, it feels like it's working within magnetism and levitation of stuff. Like that. Just I feel like there's some kind of structural shape that we're not
Yeah.
tapping into, and
Right.
not tapping into
Yes.
the magnetic forces.
Exactly. And yes, maybe not as much as we should. And the other thing is like we're so stuck on this same like staying in the box idea of we need something to fuel our cars, but like why are we looking at it as a fuel? We should just be looking at it as a whole new technology that's
Yeah.
not, like you said, maybe it's magnetized and it just works completely different than the system that we have now.
Yeah, and maybe the next phase of something is like teleportation portals. It could be like, I don't know, I definitely, we both have said telepathy is like,
Telepathy's definitely there.
it's there, and I don't know how that comes online, but
Yeah,
and I don't know to what,
either.
and I don't know to what distance. I don't know the limitations. I don't know the system of how that
Right.
works, but
And also, how do you hide some information? Like you wouldn't want, I think we don't have telepathy right now because, I mean, there's
we don't
things
have
sometimes,
control over our own instrument. That's probably
yes, exactly. That's very well put. Exactly. Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I sit there and I put in my, my pin at the ATM, I think, oh, I'm glad like other people don't have telepathy, or some people might be able to get that information because I feel like I'm a good sender, so like, all right, so what if somebody's a good receiver? You wouldn't want that kind of information being out. So how do you, I don't think we're there yet, like to be able to know how to be, how to protect ourselves.
Yeah, I don't think we are yet, but yet is the
Yet.
key word.
Yeah.
Always
And
the
it's
key
coming
word.
quickly.
Yeah, and I don't know why it's coming, and I don't know why I feel compelled to say it's coming, but I just do.
Well, it's the next stage. It's the next stage of communication because, for me at least, we have, okay, if we've had communication, we had speaking languages, we have writing,
Writing, we
right?
had the
That's
printing
communication.
press.
Now we're able to do. Now we're getting into the whole emotional intelligence and reading body language and these subtleties of being able to read a person. I mean, there's people that specialize in that, like that work for governmental agencies, right? That specialize in like how people's nonverbal body, body gesture, facial expressions, body gestures and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And they can determine a person's actions based on that, or like lies and stuff. So it just seems to me like the next thing after that is telepathy.
Yeah.
Where else, like what other direction would it be?
I don't know, but I mean, telepathy, um, and I definitely think that's going to have to do with like, there's got to be some kind of activation about our instrumentation, and I don't know if that's some sort of like, gets more into the woo woo of decalcifying your pineal gland, and we all come up with the right functionality of how to do that, or we learn how to work with frequencies that like enhance things, or I'm not 100% sure how that's going to manifest, but I'll let you know if I ever get any more insights on that. But it's going to come.
Well, we could bring it back to the crystals. It's funny because when I think of crystals, like I've liked crystals for a while. I've read crystal books. I've tried to understand the essence of what each crystal has to offer and their magic, so to say. But then I think that there's actually more to it than even that. So there are these elements, but then I just feel like it's just a tip of the iceberg.
Oh, 100%. Like I feel like we do not know how these crystals are working. We don't know, like I think some people, and that's the other thing, it's so subjective. Like everybody has these different sayings on like what the crystals do, and like they're for this or they're for that. Like I don't even think we 100% know. We don't understand the mineral world 100%. Like there's something we're not tapped into about it.